Alright, so this is going to be a quick 10-minute video about rigging with Rigify. I have here a model from FBI agent model from the game Counter-Strike Global Offensive. I'm just going to clean this up a bit. I have all these vertex groups, so no vertex groups on the hand and no on the body mesh. So let's go into solid mode. Actually gonna hide this for now. So to rig with Rigify, you have to go into preference in Blender, add-ons tab, and search for Rigify. I have it enabled here, and it comes bundled in Blender. The next step you're probably gonna do is just Shift A, add an armature, human meta rig. Boom, you have your rig. There are a couple of problems here. As if I go into edit mode, you can see the face control bones. There's 94 or 92 actually bones to control the face. That's way too much compared to the entire rig consists of roughly 160 bones, and to have 90 bones to control the face is overkill for most games, especially in the user case I have here. Another thing to mention is that this is the spine, so it ends here on spine 003. Then the bones continue being named spine 4, 5, 6, and this is the face bone. So there's a bit of bad naming convention in this one. I'm going to show you how to fix this really quick. And just to recap and remember, if you go into this player model, the eyes are not separate objects. They're actually part of the entire face mesh. So I just need a bone for the head and the neck. I don't need all these face bones. Let's hide that mesh once again. So I'm going to show you how to clean it up. The next thing you're probably going to think of is like, okay, this was a bit too overkill. There's another one under basic human meta rig. So you add that one. Here you have a bit better bones, still weird naming convention, and you notice directly that you only have one bone to control the entire hand. For most games you need the fingers to pick up stuff, hold guns, open doors and stuff like that, so one bone for the hand is not gonna do it. So I'm gonna delete this basic one and go back to the one we added, the human meta rig. So let's clean it up really quickly. We don't need breastbones for our male character, and the head is overkill. So I'm gonna delete all the bones but keep the last spine bone. But we're gonna need a head. So under armature, Rigify buttons, you have a list of all these bone chains, predefined bone chains, and you can search for head, spine superhead. Let's add a sample, and notice the 3D cursor is at the world 000, but still the location of the head seems to be hard coded in the script, so it's added perfectly, but it's not connected to the spine. But check the names: neck, neck 1, head. So once you add it from the Rigify buttons, you actually get a better naming convention compared to the generated one. I just deleted this joint, so the neck is only one bone and the head is only one bone. I'm going to show you what happens if you try to generate a rig from this one. So in object mode, I select armature, and Rigify buttons gives you now the option to generate a rig. Let's click that one. We have generated the rig, but if I rotate the torso, the head is separated. So this is a problem you're gonna experience. So let's actually, we can keep this one. We can keep the rig. It doesn't matter, because if you select the meta rig and go under advanced option, overwrite is enabled, so we should overwrite the rig once we do changes. But we can actually hide it, so the viewport is a bit cleaner. So the problem is that the head is disconnected. We can just select the neck bone, select the spine bone, and click Ctrl P, keep offset. So now the head has this relationship line to the spine, exactly as the arms are separated and the shoulders are separated, but still parented to the arms are parented to the shoulder, and shoulder is parented to this last spine bone. So that is good. If you go on the bone settings, you have these relations setting for the bone, and once it's parented to the spine is pre-filled here, so you can click connected. Then the neck bone becomes just like all the other spine bones. It becomes an unbroken chain. But this actually, if you do it like this way, the generating script for Rigify is going to throw you a lot of errors, because it doesn't expect suddenly you from spine 02, 03, and then one is named neck, then it's going to break. So the script is going to break, and it's going to throw a lot of errors. So let's make sure it's not connected. The bone relation is not connected, but it's still parented. Instead, we're going to go to pose mode and just select the neck, and under our trusty Rigify type, we have this connect chain. So it's not connected in the viewport, but once the script runs, the Rigify script runs, it's gonna connect the neck to the spine. So let's go back to object mode. We can unhide our character, and we see that our skeleton, our rig is too big. So I'm just going to scale it down until the shoulder is in the mesh. I'm not going to bother placing everything here, then it's going to be a hour video. But so I scale it down. I click Ctrl A to apply scale. So we have 1:1:1 scale here. And now let's go back to the armature and generate the rig, and it should overwrite the other one, and it does. So for now we don't need our meta rig anymore. It's just the setup to generate this control rig, which we use in Blender. I go into pose mode and try to rotate the torso, and the head follows. We can just quickly parent our mesh with automatic weights to our control rig. And as you see, as I rotate the torso, the head follows. So that's nice. And the neck bone works. The head bone works. It's probably pretty shitty because I didn't place the bones correctly. So I can just show you how you can go back to your meta rig. And we need to see it a bit better. So I'm gonna turn on in front, just the side view, edit. So this is the head bone, and this is the tail, which is the pivot point. So I'm gonna place it under his jaw, and the head of the bone, I'm gonna place it at the top of the head of the mesh. And now we have to move the neck bone. This is the neck bone. So you can either move, I get the spine. Yeah, you can either move the spine roughly here, and then this head of the neck bone needs to be exactly at the same position as the spine. So you can move the 3D cursor and then move the head of the neck bone. So now it's exactly in the same position. Another way of doing it is by box selecting works, and also pressing C to paint your selection also works. So this is a bit better. we need to generate a new rig. Actually, it shouldn't. Yeah, it's just put the controls a bit better, so that you can see the neck bone is actually more at the neck now, and the head is at the head. But the one other thing is that this is probably all wrong now, so delete all the groups. Yeah, and reparent it to generate new weights, more according to the small updates I did to the neck and the head. Okay, this is gonna be really quick. I'm just gonna show you how you can parent stuff to the bones. So as you can see, as I rotate the head, my neck is broken. All the loose part of the model doesn't update. So the best part, or the best way to fix it, is to fix all these floating islands of loose part, is go into edit mode and just hover over the parts and press L to select the linked vertices. So we have a lot of like floating stuff here. They're all selected, and on the vertex group we can search for the head and assign all these vertices to the head. Go back to object mode. And you can see it started. We have a couple of other loose parts. These parts of the glasses, and that happens when you have floating stuff. That's when it's trying to assign the weights. It doesn't really work. There's some small part here floating in the air. So I'm going to show you the second way to fix it is by weight painting. So we have the vertex group head. If I clear this list, you can see that when I select other vertex groups, they highlight. Not the neck. We want to check the head here, and tool, add. Yeah, you can paint all this stuff that's connected to the head. And if you happen to do something like this, paint vertices that's not supposed to be there, you can just click here on the icon on the tool and let's go subtract with a bit less of a weight, and paint it until it looks good. And now this part is a bit too weighted. But that's how you do it, either by editing the vertices or the weight map by painting it. So I'm just going to reset that. Yeah, that's the video. So a quick tip for everybody who's making 3D content in Blender and want it into your game engine and using Rigify. It's pretty simple to fix the Rigify meta rig once you get used to it and make your own. This model doesn't have the eye separated, otherwise I would add 2 bones, and those 2 bones, if you go into the bone settings, they shouldn't be deformed bones, so it's just going to be 2 floaty bones that doesn't deform the mesh, and then you parent the eyeballs to those bones. But this one doesn't need it. And if you're gonna export this stuff, you don't need a meta rig, you just need a control rig, and you can select your mesh and your control rig, press F4, export GLTF 2.0. It's a pretty nice format. And under animation and yeah, what a stupid naming, animation. So under animation and animation, you have this option to export deformation bones only. That should be checked. That tells Blender not to export your generated control bones. Instead, if we go to the armature and check the last layer, and maybe in front, Okay, I'm just gonna check the last layer. So this is the deform bones. They only get exported, and that's good for your game engine. Your game engine doesn't care about all these other control bones for animating in Blender with the IK setups and stuff like that. The game engine only wants the deform bones, which are driven by your control bones. Yeah, that's the video. Check out Rigify, it's pretty awesome.